Okay, something's going on with these Bitcoin dominance charts, and I just don't know what it is. When I look at the daily chart of this Bitcoin dominance, it's just taken off, and Bitcoin has not taken off. If I look at altcoin, okay, so if I look at total market cap, market cap total, what the hell's happened here? Like, you know? And then if I look at altcoin dominance, market cap, altcoin market, or altcoin market, nothing's moved. Kind of weird. Altcoin dominance. This is really scary because I actually rely on these charts. So what the hell is going on? So Bitcoin, like it's the kind of, maybe an exchange closed and they recalculate how they, okay, hold on, no, this is not the chart I want. Bitcoin, Bitcoin market cap. Okay, that's pretty stable. Anyway, yeah, something odd is going on. Let's go back to the charts we were looking at the beginning. How fast can we go back? Back. Like, what the hell is this? Bitcoin dominance. Market cap virus. I know. They must have changed an algorithm or something. That's the only thing I can think. Hopefully they'll fix it and we'll look at it tomorrow. Because I do like to look actually at the total market cap. And the reason I look at that is because you want to see money coming in across the board. You know, you want to see this going up, and I've been looking for a bottom in this. And yeah, I don't know what the hell is going on here. So, yeah, this is the total market cap is the one that I look at because you want to see new money coming in. And I was just looking for this to make a really nice. This is very similar with all the moving averages and this pullback to the Bitcoin chart. So I keep rushing back and looking at my Bitcoin chart and going, oh, has the world collapsed? Has the world ended yet? But it hasn't. Okay, so let's start with Bitcoin. Let's start with Bitcoin on the daily chart. Because we had a little back pattern here. I'm going to clean up my chart. We had a little harmonic pattern called a back pattern down at the 7840 area, and we bounced from it really strongly, which you're supposed to do. Okay, and a back pattern is a reversal and an 886 Fibonacci retrace. So from this low to this high, when you have an ABC or you think it's like 2A, you put the fib retrace on the whole swing. But if I put it just on this swing, it works the same. It's still a back pattern. It's still an 886 reversal, and it still went to the 50%. So either way you draw it, this is still a back pattern. So we bounce from our back pattern. When you do, your first target is always the 50% level, and that's where we've stopped. And if you pull back and you make another leg higher, your second target is always the 236 fib from the same swing, this from here to here. So you go from 886 to 50, and if you make a new high, you go to the 236 fib. So here we are. Now, this lovely swing here was 5 waves. This lovely swing here was 5 waves. If I'm going to go down to one more, I'm going to go down one more time frame and look at an hourly chart here. And if I measure this first swing and I project it from this bottom swing, this with this spike high this afternoon, this spike retest, which Bitcoin loves to do. It loves to make a high or a low and then retest it and spike retest it with a lower low. Look, a low here and then a lower low. And it just likes to do that here, a low and then a lower low. It's just up here, a high and a higher high and then a sharp reversal. So this is what we've got here. And because this is 1.618 of the first swing, it suggests that this was a wave 3 as well, and we're going to see a wave 4 and then another leg higher. And if we do, this is a swing failure pattern, exactly, it's a swing failure pattern. And if we do, then the most common retrace of a wave 3 is a 38.2. So if I measure from this low to this high, which I think is here, then here we are sitting on the 38.2 level. The second most common is 50%, and that would bring us back to this hourly 200 moving average. But one thing about this is, if this is an impulsive wave 3 and we're going to make another leg higher, we should not close underneath this high of wave 1. Now, strict Elliott waivers will tell you shouldn't go into the territory. I kind of prefer the Robert Miner approach of you don't close within the territory. So you don't want an hourly close underneath this high, which is 8,098 or 8,100. So we really don't want this is Binance prices. The mileage is going to vary depending on which exchange you're at. But it's that high that we made on the 19th of October. You do not want an hourly close under that high. It would negate our bullish view. It would say that all of this is just corrective and that we are still in a corrective pattern rather than potentially making a bottom and going higher from here. If we don't make a bottom here, if this is a corrective pattern, if we go back and we close underneath 8,100, which interestingly, you know, when you have big, long Maribosu candles like this and candlestick charting, the 50% level is called a Maribosu line, and if you stay in the top half, it's not a bearish reversal because we've made a new high. If we close under this on the daily, this would be a bearish reversal pattern called dark cloud cover. And it's the opposite is called bullish piercing line. And it's a very powerful candlestick pattern. It's just as good as a hammer or a shooting star for bearish reversals. So 8,100, a close below that would be bearish. And we're looking hopefully for, because we've got 5 waves up here, look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think we need to see an ABC or 3-wave correction before we can go higher from here. Now, sometimes this is an irregular correction. So this is the high and this is the ABC, and that may be the case, in which case we'll rally from here. But if we make a new high, but you know, for confirmation that we're going higher, we need to close above this 50%, and then we're going to the 236 fib. Miguel says it's not as strong as the engulfing. It's pretty reliable, but yeah, maybe. I have to look it up on the pattern site now. Okay, so here we are, very close to support, very strong support and resistance level. You can see here at 81.20, but we don't want to close below 8,098. So support and very close by resistance. So pretty low risk reward here, reversal, if you consider that this is our target in Bitcoin. Now in ETH, we've also had a bit of a reversal today. And this, I have to say, is looking much more corrective than Bitcoin. When I look at ETH, here, what it looks like we've just made is a kind of ABC correction. It's very flat. There's nothing kind of impulsive about this so far. It may be that it turns into a kind of inverted head and shoulders pattern like this with a left shoulder, head, and if we make a lower high here, a right shoulder. But I'm not very fond of inverted head and shoulders patterns when the neckline slopes up. I like them much better when the neckline slopes down. So I'm just gonna leave it with the, I think, horizontal support and resistance in this case is going to be much more effective. And if we draw our horizontal like that and we take this fib away, you can actually see that this is the resistance level that we keep stalling at from this low, and it's 177, 178, and a bullet, if we make a lower high here and turn up, we'll still have that same bullish bottoming pattern look, and our confirmation level that we're going up in ETH is above 178. That would confirm that we've made a bottom. If we don't, and if we break down here and we connect these lows, then another leg lower for ETH. What I wasn't very happy about, or haven't been, is the reversal in ETH Bitcoin. If we look at ETH Bitcoin, this is kind of my altcoin indicator. You know, when ETH is outperforming Bitcoin, alts are normally doing better. And when I look at this from this last 5-wave swing lower, we've stalled at the 236 fib. We've stalled at the previous highs, which means no daily trend reversal for ETH Bitcoin. And we're in a bit of a pullback at the moment. So that's not such good news for alts. Nothing that would explain that market cap dominance chart, but nevertheless, a bit of a setback here. So that's ETH and ETH Bitcoin. So up until now, while this was rallying quite strongly, I thought it was a good idea, you know, to have some ETH as well as Bitcoin, because ETH was outperforming. That's all stopped now, and unfortunately we're still in a downtrend. The same thing with Litecoin. Litecoin against Bitcoin had a real go at trying to break higher. Got this. Here's the bottom of our range, and we keep bouncing off this, and I thought, well, maybe we're going to go, you know, but we just keep getting knocked back in Litecoin Bitcoin. This is a 4-hour chart. Now, it's pretty stable, as in sideways. So when you look at a Litecoin Bitcoin chart like this, you can say, well, you know, in terms of, you know, should I be in Litecoin or should I be in Bitcoin? They're pretty much even. And so there's not, you might as well be in Bitcoin rather than Litecoin in this case. But I would say clinging to these previous lows when we look at them, and at risk, I think, if we take these away and the shape of this pattern, at risk, I think, of breaking down and retesting these lows down here and dropping further. Let's zoom out to the weekly of Litecoin against Bitcoin and see where we are. Because if we look at these lows, it looks to me like we're losing it. You know, we're just, when you get underneath the level, you kind of need to get back above it and hold on. And it's looking like we're not managing it here in Litecoin Bitcoin, which sets up, you know, then it'll become resistance, and then we'll see another leg lower. So if this was our first swing lower, I'll measure the relationship, and this is a 61.8 level. Now that we've got underneath it and rejected it, gosh, you know, I can honestly see us going back to the low lows in Litecoin Bitcoin all the way down at 806. Now, that doesn't mean that Litecoin against the dollar isn't going to go up. It could still go up. It just means that it's going to be massively outperformed by Bitcoin. So with that in mind, let's take a quick look at Litecoin US dollar, because it's not that gloomy in Litecoin US dollar. We're certainly not at new lows. I'm going to clean up my chart here. But we're holding underneath our weekly moving averages and going sideways in what I think is, it looks, you know, potentially it's a bear flag, potentially it's a double bottom. We need to see how it turns out. If it just becomes an ABC correction and rolls over and we can't get out of this sideways range we're in, we're going to head lower anyway. The fibs don't work very well in this Litecoin US dollar. Well, they kind of do, and then we kind of mess them up. Do you know what I mean? So, for example, this 236 worked perfectly, 38.2, very nice bounce, 50%, very nice bounce, 61.8, it got really woolly. And then down here, we just didn't quite reach our 786. So if we do one more push lower here in this, I do think that there's pretty good support at 48.72 in Litecoin. So if you're looking at one, somebody said they want to short the hell, and my group wants to short the hell out of Litecoin. In terms of Litecoin US dollar, you know, shorting this is fine, but the risk reward is not massive, is it? When we look at this on the daily, we're only going, you know, well, I suppose at this point, yeah, 54 to 48. So Sniper One says just being front run on the fibs. Yeah, front run. Irritatingly. Okay, so we'll move on from Bitcoin and ETH and Litecoin, and we'll talk about Ripple, which got everybody excited. And should we still be excited? Is it still outperforming Bitcoin? Yes, it is outperforming Bitcoin very nicely, and we have actually reversed the trend. We had a pretty cool double bottom. You know, when you stop going down or up, and you go into a sideways range, which we did here, and we had a pretty nice clearly defined range, double bottom on the bottom here with a little swing failure pattern. That would have been a very nice bullish entry here, this swing failure pattern. And then when we broke out of the range, your target is always twice the range. So sure enough, that was our target here. If you'd have used that to take profit, you would have had a very nice little trade there. But so far we've carried on and we have reversed the trend. I think we should continue higher now. There's a real no-brainer level coming up for Ripple. And that's this double or triple bottom here at 4,056. And it's where the daily 200 moving averages in Ripple Bitcoin. So I think this pullback is one that we can buy happily, and this is where I would be looking for it. So it's just a matter of when will this pullback bottom out and turn up higher again. Well, if we look at previous swings in this move, for example, this one, gosh, that was quite a deep, wait, hold on. I apologize, I'm still getting over this cold. 61.8. I don't know if that's going to help us in this one. I always look at the fib from the low and I mark the 236 fib because that's such a reliable first place to look for it to come back to. So I'm going to say 3,442, and these prior highs would be the first place that I would be looking for. And the second way I would measure and look for a pullback level would be 50% of this last swing higher. And if I do that, it's exactly the same level. So 3,447 I think is quite a likely level for this to come back. And if we don't hold 3,447, and if we do a deep retrace, then this previous low will be where the support will be next. So down here at 3,133. So Ripple against Bitcoin, 3,477 around there, and otherwise this prior low. If we look at Ripple dollar, I've been in this really nice channel ever since the low. Let me take that away. Hold on, let's take that away. Put this on. So we've been in this really nice channel, climbing our way up through each of these fib levels, and each time the fib level has been resistance or support, and then resistance, and then here support. So we got knocked back at the 786, support at this 61.8. I think this is looking a little bit flaggy now. I'd like to see this break higher. If it does, then the first resistance is obviously going to be the previous highs. And if we exceed the previous highs at 0.30277, we're going to go to the 886 next at 0.3142, and then hopefully previous highs and make our way higher. Looks to me though like we've gone into a bit of a sideways range here. The moving averages have gone flat, bunched up together. And so that means that it's really important that we do make that new high and not just double top, which happens when the moving averages flatten out. When they flatten out, it becomes a sideways range. So here in Ripple dollar, we're going to be bullish if we break above 0.3077, and we will cover our losses, we'll cover our position or sell it if it breaks 0.2835, because a reversal at a 786 fib usually goes back to the 382. So that means that if we break here, we'll come down to here. This is the target. So that's Ripple US dollar. So it's a bit like Bitcoin really. We're holding it to see if we can make a shallow pullback and then carry on higher. And if it doesn't and it makes the bigger one, then it's all parties over, lower high, and looking for another setup. So that's how I see Ripple US dollar tonight. Next one we're going to look at is Bitcoin Cash ABC. Now this one had a lovely breakout against Bitcoin again. This is a sort of sideways range. Now, happy days. We should go twice this distance, which I think we almost have done. But we should also watch out, because for me, the first sign that you're still in a downtrend, or that you haven't made, or you're not in a new kind of impulsive wave higher, is if you see an ABC correction. So for example, here, when we were looking at this rally and we were wondering, is this going to be a new, swing higher? We just made 3 waves, ABC, and then back we came. It said no. And here we did the same, 3 waves and ABC. This might have been equal, although it hasn't been. It's a bit scatty in this one. But just that 3-wave pattern and then the reversal. What I do when I see a 3-wave pattern like that, if it comes back more than the 236 fib, I usually say, okay, that's it, I'm out. And so here, if we apply this theory here and say this is the first leg, pull back, and then the second leg, third leg, so 1, 2, 3, then if it starts to look like it's kind of equal or just beyond and then it comes back again, that would mean still in a correction. But otherwise, we've got, if I line this up here, it looks like we've got 3 lovely touches on the top, and so that would be, if we keep going, that would be my first target up here where I'd be looking for a breakout. Let's see if we can apply some fib rules to this swing, because this first swing was to the 38.2. So I'd be looking for a 1.618 of this swing here, because that's what the rules say. So is that 2.618 going to line up? Up here. Ooh, the highs. That'll be good. So yeah, so I'd be looking as a first target up here at 0.3031. And the second target would be a retest of this high if we break out. So that's where I'd be looking for next in Bitcoin Cash against Bitcoin. Nice bullish reversal, but this is kind of triangle-y looking, isn't it? Need to break out to the upside. If we look at it against the US dollar or against Tether, again, it's not a double bottom. And so it looks like a lower high. And so whenever you've got that kind of lower high, you're always concerned that it's going to be maybe end up being just an ABC pattern correction or something like that. What is cool about this one is that this previous high is a 61.8 fib. If I go to the daily, and it looks like we kind of went beyond it and we shouldn't have. And if you can recover this fib level, then potentially we could do one of those 61.8, 38.2 golden ratio zone moves. So again, if we can close and hold above 242, I would look for 342 as a target. And this 50% in the middle should be a little bit of a pivot level here at 295. So yeah, above 242.6 in Bitcoin Cash ABC, I think good. If we just have a peak above it and we get rejected, then staying under this 61.8 fib would send us down to the 786 next, which is at 167. So watch out for that in Bitcoin Cash. Next one we're going to take a look at, extend the trend line. And there's on the triangle. Yeah, I should have extended it. Thank you. Sniper one. Okay. Excuse my cold. Right. Bitcoin Cash SV. Now this one has been really squeezy. I think it's because everybody loves to short it. And so when this one moves, you always see a real short squeeze, and it outperforms Bitcoin and it outperforms Bitcoin Cash ABC. What was kind of cool about this one is that this is also, it's messy, but it's an 886 reversal because it kind of held this fib level. So we're going to say, just like Bitcoin, when you reverse at an 886, your target is the 50%. So we should see a bit of trouble first here at the 200 moving average. So if you've got FOMO and you're looking at this, this is where you might get your pullback. Because it's not just the 200-day moving average, but there's a whole bunch of other prior highs around in this area, which means we've got a whole bunch of support and resistance, if I can draw it properly. There it is. So this spike low, high, you can see here why we've had trouble around here. So we are at resistance in Bitcoin Cash SV. We could see a bit of a sharp pullback. If this closes as a nice bullish green candle. Maybe 50% of this green candle would be, of the open close, would be a good place to look for a pullback or a bit of consolidation. If we close above this level though and above the 200 moving average, it would be support. But at the moment, I think it's resistance, and it could be saying that Bitcoin is about to outperform after a big squeeze move higher. I would still be buying pullbacks. I would still be looking for this 50% level next at 0.0188. If we take a look at it against US dollar, let's see where we are in this one. Same lovely bullish reversal. We're not quite at the 200-day moving average. Maybe we have some fib resistance here. Potentially. And 236 fibs are always tricky. So these prior lows, we need to see where we close, because at the moment you could look at this and go, oh, see, look, we've smashed that resistance. We're through it, aren't we? But this is crypto, and it loves to have a look the other side, and it'll come back and close on this resistance. And if it does, then it's held, the resistance is held, and we will see a pullback. Now, if we're going to stay in an uptrend, we should not come back below this daily 50 moving average here. So that's where our support is going to be in 50% of this candle. If we're going to stay in an uptrend, and if we do go back below that, and if I measure, see where that is, that blue moving average, the daily 50 moving average is at 104.15. So that's what I'm looking at for a pullback, and then another go at this resistance. But if we do close above it, it's 111.25. Then we should continue higher to the 38.2 and to the 200-day moving average next. So 200-day moving average here, which is at 127, and then see these highs and lows, lovely support and resistance level at this 38.2 fib level at 138.84. That's where I'd be looking for next. But no doubt about it, this is an interesting level here for, in fact, if we draw it slightly like this, here we are. Interesting level right here for Bitcoin Cash SV. So protect your profits. Hopefully you've got some. And we're going to look at ZRX next. Hasn't this coin been well behaved? Now, this is what I mean. We looked at one just now where we looked set to break out, didn't we? And retest a 786 fib level. This is what we've done in ZRX Tether or against the dollar, and we've double topped with a swing failure pattern. So for me, this is a little bit bearish. This says that we are, after 1, 2, 3, 4, I think 5 waves up, we're in a bit of sideways a correction. Until we can close and hold above 0.3382, we are vulnerable to another swing lower. Now, potentially just back to these highs and this 50% level at 0.2696, but I'd be very careful, because reversals at 786 fib very often come back to the 38.2, which would see you back down to here at 0.2412. So if I look at this on a lower time frame, and I see this, you know, whenever you see a double top, like I honestly, if you've been long ZRX, I would take some profit here. You can always buy it back again if it turns higher. You can put an alert at this level, and if it breaks above it, you can buy it again. There's lots of things you can do, but I would be starting to protect my profit at this level. Now, it may be that this is just a big wave 4, and we make a big triangle here. And we've had, you know, ABC, and we go ABC down again, and up, you know, and up we go. But protect your profits at this point anyway, because we may roll this into a bigger pullback before we go higher. Bigger picture, I mean, we're trading above all of our important daily moving averages. We've just pulled the 20 through. If we consolidate sideways and we don't drop like a rock, we should eventually pull this 50 up as well and carry on higher in this one. I think it looks lovely. If we measure, like if we measure this swing and this swing, you know, we might do one more push higher to that 1.618, that 886 level before we reverse. This may just be a shallow pullback, you know, and then we go one more leg higher, 0.3622 to 0.37 area, and these highs. See these highs here? I wouldn't be surprised. Up here is huge resistance when we look at these highs where we couldn't close. So I wouldn't be surprised if this is consolidation and one little push higher, but don't let this reverse on you and give it all back. That's all. Yeah, up much higher is a much better resistance. And then, okay, so if we go back to the daily, if we come up here and we make one more push, then this swing is 1.618 of the first swing. Then we would expect to pull back somewhere to around this wave 4, bottom around here, and then we carry on to new highs. That would be a very good look for ZRX Tether. Let's see ZRX Bitcoin, because this one's been outperforming Bitcoin quite nicely. Here we are above our, if we take this big swing lower that we've had in ZRX Bitcoin, we're above our 200 moving average. We are, you know, consolidating nicely and not giving anything back. But I'm just going to switch to regular candles. We are in a sideways consolidation zone, and this was a little bit of a tricky move higher. The real resistance comes at these highs, because these trend resistance, I think that the next dip would be a very nice buying opportunity in ZRX Bitcoin. And I think if you've got some and you've been swinging it from down here, keep your stop under the 200 moving average. It's lovely, and it should continue higher. And my first target would be this big, you know, this is a bit of a level here, isn't it? When we look at this spike low and spike high here. So 46.73 is going to be a bit of resistance, no doubt about it. That would be our first wave up, finishing about here, and then I would look for a pullback, and then this 236 fib next at 6276. So looking really good buy dips in ZRX, but tonight, right now, a little bit of toppy and sideways, and another wave 4. I think they all look like wave 4 patterns to me tonight. Okay, love ZRX. RCN is next. I didn't have a lot of time to prepare, so some of these I am looking at with you for the first time. So I'm sorry about that, but that's okay. We can look at it all together. So here's Ripio Credit, and I haven't looked at it since yesterday. Ooh, this is looking quite perky, isn't it? This is the definition of a bullish pennant. Okay, so we've got this long flagpole here, and then this lovely pennant here. The trend is up. We're holding above these moving averages. I love it. So our first target is going to be, look, this horizontal level that we couldn't close above, which is the 50% back of this drop. So from this high to this low. So if you're buying pullbacks in this, then you're looking for 526 first. And a close above 526 would be a breakout of this bullish pennant. Warning, third touches of trend lines are usually false breakouts, followed by a nasty pullback. So we would expect this to be a false breakout, nasty pullback, and then you wait for the dip, and then it'll go again. So that's just how they tend to work. But preparation makes you a winner. So if you're ready for it and you expect it, then that third false touch usually validates your trend line, and that would be what to look for. So yeah, I think very nice. I would buy this next dip and be looking for here. If it can't get above, now what are you going to do if it comes up here and it can't get above this 50% and then it comes back again? Well, I would look at it. You don't want it to come back too far. I would say, where would I do it? This is just going to be like an ABC. Measure from here. So I'd measure from here to wherever that high is. And if it came back more than the 236 fib, which is this pretty good level here, 509, yeah, 509, I would dump it. But I would probably not buy the first breakout. If I hadn't got any, I would be watching for this to get up here and then break out and then buy the pullback above the 50% level. I probably wouldn't buy it on the first. And if I bought it here, then I would let it go up there and I'd have my stop at even, wouldn't I? Because then you give it every chance to diddle around and see if it goes. But if I didn't and I waited for an alarm on the breakout, I would watch for the retest. Okay, so that's RCN against Bitcoin. We'll take a quick peek at it against the dollar, because with everything, you should make sure that it is actually going up against the dollar as well. And if we look at it here, this is a lovely bull flag and kind of holding above these previous highs. It's very messy, but if we look at where the closes are of these highs, let's go. Kind of is. This is where, you know, we're fighting over anyway, and a very good move today, but it's not a breakout yet. Not yet, even against this dollar, although it's looking very promising. It's not quite there yet, is it? But a very nice looking RCN indeed. Okay, I'm going to go back to the daily. Where's the 50% of this one? In fact, we could say this is a giant head and shoulders pattern in this one, couldn't we? RCO, if we will. It's not perfect because of that neckline, but there. Anyway, so we're fighting over the neckline and the horizontal, but a nice look. So I would now, this is a good lesson when you've got like a stupid chart like this, which is such an enormous drop. You can't put your fib on and say, okay, my 236 is a target from there. You really have to kind of say, I always look for the most recent 5-wave swing. So I'm going to say this is the most recent 5-wave swing. This looks like the fib levels we've been kind of bouncing off. This is the 886, and above here all we've got is this previous high. And then I'd be looking for extensions from here. And then I'd probably look at this bigger 5-wave swing as my fib and say, you know, especially because this 236 could be resistance as well. And so I would probably say, watch out that this isn't just the 1, 2, 3, 4 and final 5th wave, and we get bang our head here at 0.0511 if you're looking at it against the US dollar. We might just do that and bang our head and have a bit of a setback, because that would be 5 waves complete. If we close above this 236 fib level, happy days, we're on our way. Happy days indeed. So that's RCN, Ripio Credit Network. Next one we're going to look at is Via. And here we go. Vechain. So let's zoom out. I've got the US dollar chart here. In fact, let's start with Bitcoin, which is how most people are trading it. Now, when I put in Vechain, when I put all the fib extensions on, so that's when you run fibs from the bounces in a downtrend, so the counter trend moves, you put your fib swings on and you use the projections for targets. We had really a really good confluence of support here at 2847. It was the 1.618 of this swing and the 1.618 of this 1272 of this big swing as well, and we got underneath it. What tends to happen when you overshoot big support levels like this, the pattern that you want to see that will save the day and recover it is an inverted head and shoulders pattern, and that level to sort of become the neckline, and that's sort of what we're seeing here. So this kind of resistance zone is what we've got to get above, and we're making a bottoming pattern, but back above or regaining these this what should have been support is going to be key. And we're pretty close to it. We're underneath it. But every time we come back to it, we get knocked back. And that's 28.49 in via Bitcoin. So, yeah, it's got a bullish cross of the daily moving averages. It's holding support from these daily moving averages. Everything is starting to look like Sniper 1 is right. A nice rounded bottom. We just need this breaking out. And so that's Vechain Bitcoin, what to watch for. And if we do, then you say 200-day moving average. And good God. In fact, I don't think we've even got it on this chart. It's fallen so far. No. Okay. So what we're going to do, in this case, we'll just hide this. So we'll take this as our most recent 5-wave swing lower, even with a spike, and we'll put on the 236 fib for our first target up here. So we'll say our first target is probably 65.24. They sometimes work better when they line up. If we ignore the spike, we have much better structure. So I'm going to say maybe 7043 and a slightly higher one are these lows here. So looking good, but if we can break higher in Vechain. So via US dollar we'll go back to, or via Tether. We really just want to make sure that it's going up and not in a downtrend, and it is. It's making a base here as well. We've got the same sticky level from these previous lows here, and I think that that's going to be our kind of bull bear line. So this double bottom here was support, and then resistance, 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 resistance. And so if you're watching it against the US dollar, then 0.244 is what you want to see it go above. Okay. I will do XMR on, yeah, I'll do Monero at the end, and I'll do the pound at the end. Somebody asked me for the pound as well, which I'm quite bullish the pound, but we're at resistance. So let's take a look at Link. One of my favorite charts, Link. One of my favorite coins. So this is a really good example of very nice behavior. This is Link US dollar. I'll go into Link Bitcoin in a minute. Very nice behavior at fib levels. And I'm looking for that fifth wave high that will take us to 50% of the drop in Link US dollar here at Coinbase. So we're turning up higher. Resistance is this previous high and the 38.2 fib level at 2.839. We've held support of the daily 20 moving average perfectly. Let's take a look at where we are on the hourly, because we're having a nice little, hopefully, ABC correction and a bit of a pullback here. But I'm always watching to make sure that we haven't, because sometimes they look suspiciously like ABC corrections. And so when you're in an uptrend and you're looking for that next leg higher to begin, whenever they look a bit like maybe it could be an ABC correction, you should get your spidey sense on and be watching out that it doesn't pull back too far. This one hasn't, but it really does need to keep going higher from here, or it would suggest that the next swing hasn't begun. I would like to see it make a fifth wave higher, so it should keep squeaking up, but protect yourself just in case. That's Link US dollar. So that's a bit like Bitcoin, really. We really need to see it hold support, or everything will come down with it. And the same thing, we've got the same pattern here in Link Bitcoin. Would really like to see this keep going higher, but the key question is the correction complete with this big ABC move, or is this just a bigger A and then we're doing a B and then a bigger C leg? That's always the worry. And so, here again, potentially, if we stop here, okay, and we don't go too much further, or we roll over here, we've made a textbook equal measured move in Link Bitcoin. So this previous high, I'm going to say in the 61.8 level here, is where we shouldn't drop back below. Okay. 30,971. At the moment, we're holding above it very nicely on this 4-hour look Here on the hourly, you can see we are holding above it pretty nicely. But, yeah, don't let it come back too far, because then it would just be an ABC, and the next leg higher hasn't begun yet, unfortunately. Link does look like it's leading the alts. Yeah, it's definitely one of the best ones out there, for sure. Now then, Doge. Doge got knocked. This is Doge Tether. You can clearly see there is this support and resistance in Doge Tether, can't you? From if we connect the closing prices in these, look. Bit of a wobble here, but we'll forgive that. Otherwise, this is pretty strong support and resistance, and it's 27,945 in. So in Doge, US dollar, we've hit resistance, and we are now, having got our bullish cross of these daily moving averages, we're going to come back and test them. If we are in a really strong new 5-wave sequence, we shouldn't close back below this high here, which is at 25,000. So that's your kind of bull bear line and the daily 20 moving average. As long as we don't close back below that, I'm going to look for it to find support and turn high in Doge Tether. If we look at Doge Bitcoin, which most people trade, here's our resistance. So I'm going to zoom out to see, so you can see where these fibs come from. So they come from the lows in December 17. I think this was a big sort of ABC, and to the highs here in September 18. But, you know, if you put them on here, they're the same thing. So we'll just do this swing because we're trading inside of it. And it looks like, so an 886 fib reversal, which we got very excited about, because if you can do that, then your target would be back to the 50%, just like Bitcoin's just done short term, right? But your confirmation that you've made the reversal at the 886 is getting above the fib that you broke, which is the 786, and that's just where we failed here. It's also quite good support and resistance in Doge. So 200-day moving average, previous broken Fibonacci support and resistance, it was all too much for us to get above first time. So we're going to need to see a pullback and, you know, build some support again and some momentum before we have another go at this level. Now, if we can close above it, it's 36. A daily close above 36. Seriously, get some Doge, because this would be then that back pattern, and it would take us to 64, which is a huge reward for this move. But if we can't and we stay underneath it, we're still in a downtrend in Doge Bitcoin. Okay, next one, BNB. I keep trying to buy BNB, and I haven't been doing it very well this week, unfortunately. The reason is it's so... Okay, we'll start on the daily. Okay, because this is a really good one where the fibs don't work, to be honest. I'm going to throw the fibs away in this one. And we'll just look at our moving averages and take these away, because they haven't been working very well. So we're in terms of daily moving averages, we're in a downtrend. We keep getting knocked back off these daily moving averages and turning lower. Now here we've rallied back to them. If we're going to stay in a downtrend, we're going to break underneath this 20 again, and we're going to carry on lower. And if we reverse the downtrend, we will get above the daily 50, which has been the bane of our life ever since this started in July. So that's where we are. And whilst we're in between these moving averages, it's like no man's land. And we're stuck in no man's land in BNB, waiting for that breakout. So we're bearish if we close back underneath this 20 moving average and looking for a retest of the lows, flat moving averages, it becomes a sideways range. And if we can break above this 50, and then we have a really good shot at this trend line, and then back to the 200 moving average maybe. So I keep looking at this consolidation. I keep thinking this is today. Today's the day it's going to break out higher, because we know if we break out from this, that puts us above that daily 50, and it doesn't. It just keeps on keeping on sideways. But that's the trading channel, yeah. You're right. So on the 4 hour, that's our trading channel. And until we break out, you buy the bottom and you sell the top, and you wait for the breakout. BNB, Tether, waiting for a breakout. I'd like to be bullish. If we break lower from here, though, I'm going to be patient and wait for a retest of the lows. In BNB against Bitcoin, which here was our lovely rally in BNB against Bitcoin. I'm going to take these away like this. We're going to go from here. That's not what. So if the definition of a downtrend is lower highs and lower lows, then what reverses the downtrend is when you reverse that and you start making higher highs and higher lows, which means we've got to take out this high here. And this is what we can't do. And there's our support and resistance level in BNB Bitcoin that we cannot quite close above. And this marked area down here is where I think we'll go if we fail again here. In our favor, we have got a bullish cross of these moving averages. That doesn't mean that we're necessarily going up, but it means that when we come back down here, we might find some support and turn higher again. But for now, this looks like a rejection. And if I want to confirm it's a rejection, I put my fibs on from this low to the high. And if the 236 fib breaks, for me, it's a rejection. So far, it hasn't broken. But if it does, I'm going to say, okay, and look for fibs lower. I'm going to, does this look like an ABC maybe? Is it still? Doesn't quite look like an ABC. So I'm a little bit hopeful, but let's see. But if I was long and more than that 236 fib, I would cover my position and I would wait and see if we find support where, and then buy it again when it turns up. So, I'm not an order block. I'm not an order block girl, but thanks, Sniper. Yeah, and I think back underneath this daily 50, which is here, 20,600. I think that this lower target is where we're going. So BNB, Bitcoin, shallow pullback so far. Hopefully, doesn't come back too much further, and we will start turning higher again. Okay, next one we're going to look at is Seele. So let's see, Seele. So I got a weekly chart of this one. Big, this is a Huobi coin. Nice weekly move so far. I think that we're in a wave, I'm hoping we're in a little wave 4 in this one. Very nice double bottom. We hit our first target off that. This weekly consolidation, I'm looking for it to pull back a little bit further. Remember we talked about big green candles with, or big candles with very little tails, Marabosus, we called them. 50% of these candles are very often support and resistance in really good places where you can leave an order. And so if we look at this one, you can see that had you done that on this coin, this 50% back would have been a really nice pullback long look entry in this one. And that's how they tend to work. Here's another Marabosu here. And sometimes they work when you come back to them after a long time. So here's this 50% line here, look, on this giant red candle. And look where we stopped. How do I know this? When I very first started trading and I got my first professional job, I was trading Marabosu lines all the time. And I would leave orders at these 50% levels. And I left one in silver. And I left an order and forgot about it for 2 weeks. 2 weeks. It was on a daily one. And it went back and I suddenly got filled. I got a notification and I honestly started palpitating because I couldn't remember leaving the order. And all the guys were going, wow, what a great entry. Well, how did you work that out? Where did that come from? And it was because I had left an order at one of these Marabosu lines, and that is exactly where it had gone back to. So that's a good fun lesson about candlesticks. So there you go. So from here, I don't think we'll go back below this 50% level, but if we look at the daily here, we are looking a little bit toppy and back and forward. And so in a sideways correction, moving average has started to flatten out. We've made a slightly higher high here. So if this is going to be an ABC, it could be that we do this and we get, wait, not wrong one. Okay, so if we go to 61.8 of this first drop, we'll come back down to around 57,500, and ABC puts us slightly above that Maribosu line low, which is down here at 50,000 even. So I would say 50,000 even. Remember, that's still above that Maribosu line level. If we go back to the daily, sorry, weekly, but yeah, it's looking a little. This is a swing failure pattern. So it comes back to support when you do that. So far, it's just come back to this daily 20 moving average. But if these lows break, potentially we're coming back to 50,500. Okay, lovely move. Another way to look at this is this. Because if we do this, we can see that actually this was a slightly higher low. Okay, so what if this was our big wave 1, 2, and this is our big wave 3? Well, the most common retrace is 38.2. So if we mark that up here and we put on, where's that 38.2? That would be also a good level and a little bit higher to look for support. 53,171. So 53 or 50,000, somewhere around there would be good support potentially. Kaylin, do I know anything about Elrond, ERD? I do not know anything about Elrond, ERD, but I could look at the chart if I have time at the end for you. So Seele, Bitcoin in a correction. That's where I'd be looking for a pullback to. And then my first target is up here at 107,950. Looking good. Wait, put Fibray retrace from wave 1 to bottom. Okay. On my correction. Yeah, 2.618. Is that what you meant? Okay. Deep retrace. Okay. I'm not sure what you mean, so I'm going to move on if that's okay. So let's take a look at Mana next. Sorry about that. Mana. IOTA. Yeah, I will take a look at IOTA at the end if I have time. Hopefully the Daleks is remembering all these, and we've got Fetch to come as well. So here's Mana Bitcoin. This one did a really nasty retrace. And when I look at it on the daily, I've been taking my fibs from here just because they seem to be working. And sometimes, you know, it's the most recent 5 waves. I can count 5 waves. And sometimes that's just what you've got to use. But I'm not 100% sure of them. But they did work. So let's put them back on. I'm just trying to see if there's any other reason. Let's put them back on from this high. Okay. So this is a kind of double top swing failure pattern at the 38.2 fib. The 236 fibs are usually quite sharp. If you go through them, you'll expect them to be back tested, and the levels hold pretty sharply. 50% levels are very sharp. 786, 886 fib levels are sharp. 38.2 and 61.8 fib levels are messy. You go through them and chop around them, and this is what we've done at this 38. So nasty swing failure pattern back to support, and in this case, this is the 236 fib that we're holding here. I'd like to see a rally from here, but it will only be confirmed if we get back above this 20 moving average, because we've pulled back underneath it, which I didn't want to do. So I'm looking for, it's a really good level, great support and resistance level that we're bouncing from, but back above that 20 moving average will confirm it. In fib terms, back above this 236 fib measured this way would confirm it. It's a little bit higher than where we are now at 371 and these highs and lows. So that's our confirmation level that we're going up. If we get knocked back there, we're still in a downtrend, I'm afraid, and looking lower from here. So 371 is resistance, and above there I think we've got a nice bullish reversal going on in Mana. And now if we go back to our daily, we'll take those little fibs away. So our next resistance, because we're climbing up through the fib levels, 38.2, 236 would be this 50%, but I'm thinking that this 200 moving average, which is lurking up there around the 886 and a bat pattern, would be a really nice target next. 547, that is looking really good. If not, these prior highs and lows and this support and resistance level and a retest of the highs at 580. If we can overcome the 200 moving average, our first big serious fib level comes in up here at 718. So looking good for a turn, you know, bullish cross of our moving averages. We've pulled back, found some support. Yes, we have flattened out a bit, and we will have to overcome this swing failure pattern high level at the top of the range. But if we can and we break out of the top of the range, this is where we'll be looking. So a great level for Mana to turn. Let's see if we can do it. Good level. VIA is next. Oh, I think I did VIA at the beginning, didn't I? I'd done VIA already, so I didn't need to do Fetch next. That's good. Okay, so we're going to go back. Here's Fetch. Daily. Ta-da! Okay. Here's our daily chart of Fetch. What we would really want to see if we're bullish Fetch is we want to see an inverted head and shoulders and a nice turn somewhere around here, don't we? I'm a little bit careful because I feel like this looks all a little bit corrective ABC-ish, and here's what I mean. 61.8 of the first one, and so and if that is an ABC, it probably is going further. So I'm going to do my old fib trick rule again. I'm going to go from that spike high down here, and we're going to say bullish if we get back above the 236 fib, going up again this way, and that would, this 4-hour 50, look at these highs and lows here as well though, that would be our level. So if we can get back above 512 from here in Fetch, we're on our way. We've confirmed we're on our way up again. I love how these moving averages are all bunched up here. I think it looks good for it, but that will confirm it. So otherwise it's just bunching them up together and not really going anywhere. So above 512, yes, it does look good, but that's what it needs to do. And then we can start looking back to these highs again here around 613, and then if we go there from here, obviously we'll have a nice sticking head and shoulders pattern. If we break the neckline, whenever you've got a head and shoulders pattern or a pattern like this, you measure from the head to the neckline, and when you break out, your target is twice the distance. That applies to any kind of sideways range pattern you've got. So whether it's, you know, just within a triangle or whatever, or double bottom, blah blah blah, triple bottom. So that gives us our target up here of 834, and then in this one, our first big fib target is up here at 1072. So happy days. But it will all be for nothing if we cannot break this support and resistance level. So let's see where we are short term in this one. Yeah, so that 236 fib. It's like it's all, and the hourly 200 moving average. That's what you need to get back above in Fetch. And Raven, been a while, Raven. Can't remember where stuff is now. I'm losing it. It's no good. Here it is. Here's Ravencoin. I think I got excited because it looked like Matic was going to break out and go higher again. So ta-da! Okay. So far, we've got a very nice 50% pullback in Ravencoin against, this was BNB we were looking at. I'll put it into Bitcoin at the moment. So against BNB, this was our level that we were looking for us to find support and see if we could turn higher again. Daily 50 moving average, 50% back, support and resistance levels. So Ravencoin BNB is at a great level. We're just looking to see if we can bounce, and so far no bounce. Ravencoin Bitcoin, we're going to do the same thing. Okay, and slight difference here, but we're still 50% back from the lows. Really good support and resistance level. Look, this closing price here, these highs, this closing price here, and these lows. So a good place for us to turn. In terms of moving averages though, it's not quite so compelling. I'm afraid in Ravencoin, we're underneath his 20 and we are at risk of another slip down to, I think, the 61.8 and where the 50 moving average is lurking. Now, if we do hold here, see this high that I marked. If we think that this is a third wave, so 1, 2, 3, and this is a fourth wave pullback, which doesn't kind of have the characteristics of, then we shouldn't close back below 368. So keep an eye on this level 368 in Ravencoin Bitcoin, because back below there would mean that we really probably wouldn't be looking for another leg higher and back to this big support and resistance level that I've been looking for. So keep an eye on that. 54 might be support, but if we're down there, it's all corrective, and this is all, you know, not quite so interesting a buy. If we can bounce from here, it is a really interesting buy in Ravencoin. So let's go lower. For our 200 moving average, happy days. Let's take this away and say if we do rally from here, what's the level we want to get above so that we've confirmed the trend reversal? Because remember, trend trading is much more profitable than picking lows and highs. Okay, and if we get above 393, we have reversed the trend and we're going up if we go from here. So 393 is where I would be looking in Ravencoin Bitcoin from here. Then we'll be in a new leg higher. Then we're going to look back to these highs, and potentially we've got a target up there at 514. If we don't go that far, so if we just stalled in the middle at, like, say, this 50% level, that very often happens. You'll see that. You'll see a drop and then we'll rally 50% and it'll stall and roll over again. That also says corrective. We could see another leg lower from here, so watch out. So, but if we're going to do it, this is where we're going to do it from. 50% back, 50% pullback place is a really good place for us to see a rally from. Okay, now let's do some requests. So the first thing we're going to look at is the British pound. Okay, now here's my British pound chart. Some of you will be saying, why? We've stalled here a little bit. I put regular candles on, but we've stalled here. This was last week's high that we hit on Thursday, Friday, and we haven't managed. We've got 3 days here and we haven't managed to close above it. So in an uptrend we've stalled. I spoke last time, I spoke about the pound, about why here on the monthly with this double bottom and back above the monthly 20, why I thought this was a really, really good long setup, why it was a really great level, and where I think we could go in the pound, which the answer is back to around 1.64. And we're at 1.29 at the moment. So that is, in terms of a swing, a really great setup. So we're looking to buy pullbacks in the pound, and we're hoping some Brexit uncertainty will give us the pullback that we want. If this is our first 5-wave wig higher and this is our correction and we're in a wave 3, have we gone kind of to the right and far enough, or 1.618? Probably not quite, but it doesn't matter. You know, we could go a little bit higher, we could pull back from here. If we do come back, then back towards this 200 moving average would be such a nice place to look for support. And if I put my fibs on from this high that we made here, so basically we're doing this year high to low for these fibs. I want to see if we're kind of around about maybe a 61.8, and we're not. In fact, we're not anything lining up that way. So let's zoom out a bit and see if we've got any fibs to help us this way. Not really. But I'm going to leave this fib on. Why am I leaving this one on? Because of this lovely reaction at the 236 fib. It kind of validates the fib levels. And so if we look at it that way, we'll say, wow, we got above this 38.2 after stalling for it for a day. And so it may be that we don't go any further and we hold above this and keep going. In which case, any little pullbacks to 28.80 are nice support. And here we are in this sideways range. So we may not break it, in other words. So let's see. A break of the highs, obviously, we're looking for 131.68 next. If we double bottom down here at 128.80, I think it's a really good buy. Lots of uncertainty this week. Lots of uncertainty. If this bill doesn't go through, and to be honest, it's too close to call. I really don't know which way. I don't know if it'll go through or not. So let's see. If it does go through, then buy dips in the pound for sure. I don't know where everyone goes, and I think, yeah, I do think a lot of interest in crypto has died. I used to have 1,000 watching. There you go. I think if Bitcoin starts rallying again, they'll all come back, though. I really do believe that. So we'll see. Okay, we're going to go back and we're going to look at XMR. So I'm going to start with Monero Bitcoin, and then we'll look at Monero dollar. So in Monero Bitcoin, and this is a bit of a happier chart as well, because when I look at the fib projection levels, so this is from this big high to low here. This 1272 is a really nice fib extension level for us to find a base and rally from. And so we're making all the right moves in terms of that. Also, this has been a bit naughty with the 50 moving average. Normally, if you get above it, you should be able to hold above it, find support and keep going. And in this one, we haven't been able to. We keep fake breaking it and then dropping back again. So let's call it a channel. Let's say that we're headed to the top of the channel and looking for a breakout of this declining wedge. Okay, and so our first target is going to be last week's high, which is at around 75.25. 75.25 is our breakout level. And if we break above 75.25, we're going to look for this horizontal level to come into play and the 200 moving average at 9,326. So that's the trade in Monero, waiting for a breakout. No breakout. And it just means we see another leg lower in this one. We've had at least we've had 3 touches on the top side of this trend line, so we may not see a false breakout, hopefully first next time, and that's what I'm watching for in Monero Bitcoin. So yeah, potential in Bitcoin, in Monero US dollar. Here's this lovely kind of bottoming shaping up. Here's our resistance level. So if we want to see a breakout, we're almost quite there, you know, in Monero US dollar. So on the daily, that's where we're looking at. Let's put the fib on and see if it lines up with the 236 fib. The best ones line up with the 236 fib, and here it does. Okay, so our breakout level, and we're just taking it from this high to this low, 236 fib. So our breakout level is 59.015. Haven't done it today, but we're really close to it. See how we're just stalled and just underneath it? That's what I want to see in Monero. So if you're looking at this and you're trading at short term tomorrow, you want to see us above this level and it be support. That's what it's got to be if we're going to keep going higher, not a fake look above and then a drop back again like before. So resistance at the top of the channel in Monero Bitcoin, and at this horizontal level in Monero US dollar, and above it we should fly to at least 67, 50% of this swing. That would take us to next in Monero US dollar, and then hopefully beyond there and back to this 200 moving average, and we'll look for our bigger 236 fib level and these prior lows, 67 then next, and then 77. So let's see if we can break higher in Monero. ERD, let me see. I don't think I have a chart prepared for ERD, so we'll go and take a look at one. ERD. Oh, look at this. So this one is perking up, isn't it? Very nice bullish engulfing day after, gosh, a week of a horrible sideways range. So we're going to take this most recent swing lower like this. Okay, we're going to come up with our target levels like this, because this first rally took us to the 50% all the way back, double bottom, and here's our 236 fib level resistance here that we need to get above now. 20. If we get above 20, we should go back to the top of the range at 26, and above 26 we've got a double bottom which takes us back to these highs at 35. So those are the parameters that I'd be looking for. They're small ticks in this one, are chunky ticks. I don't like them. I normally look at that in a US dollar because it's so chunky like that. So yeah, watch for a move above or a daily close above 20. That would be your signal that we're going can keep going in this one. Otherwise, let's see ERD US dollar. Yeah, turning higher in that one too. So if we do this, 50% hype. Okay, this is quite nice. So in the US dollar, we'll be doing a harmonic pattern. So we'll do this. And we'll look for this one first, that one second. Okay. So because of the way this is shaping up, I think this is looking good. If we can get Elrond tether above this daily 50, which each time we tag it is resistance. So if we can get above this daily 50, which is around 17,215 sat, tether, so that's 0.0017. My target's going to be up here at 0.0021 and 61.8 of this drop. My first target and my second target would be these highs. That's just a kind of harmonic pattern theory of where we go from here with this lower high. So yeah, looking good, but Look what, every other time we got to this 50, we looked above it and dropped back, couldn't drop back. So this would be important resistance here coming up. I agree that Bojo's deal is shit, but with regard to the pound. But, you know, at this point, I really think we have to compromise and just leave. If we don't leave now, I'm not sure that we're ever going to get out. And it's not good. Okay, let's take a look at IOTA last. Okay, finally. Look at some IOTA. I've got IOTA Bitcoin here because this has had a really nice turn, a reversal of fortune, if you like, and really bottomed when I thought all was lost in this one. This double bottom down here was a bit of a warning when we broke out of this sideways range and we stopped going down. That was our good sign. Bullish cross of these moving averages. Now though, we've got our lower high kind of sideways. We're going to go sideways again. I'm not sure how far this is going to pull back, but if I was measuring from this one to this one, and it's kind of gone beyond, if this is going to just be a wave 3, then 38.2 here would be a good place, or 50% to look for a pullback. And so 38.2 would bring us back to these highs here around 30,181, 50% back to the daily 50. So it is a little bit toppy, this lower high. If this breaks, it might not, but if it does, if this breaks, that's where you'd be looking. 30,181, and I wouldn't hold on. I would wait for it to come back and buy it. Okay, I think it looks good. But it's 5 waves up and you need 3 waves back. So a little bit lower. Okay. Could I look at, that's IOTA Bitcoin. Starting to top out a bit. And 5 waves up means 3 waves back. And then I think we should see, I think this should be a wave 4. And we should see another wave higher. You know, when you get a bullish cross of your daily moving averages, your target is always back to the 200. And so that's where I'd be looking maybe a little bit lower, these highs next. So 3 waves back and then buy it again for the 200 moving average. All is not over in IOTA Bitcoin for sure. If I take a look at IOTA US dollar or IOTA Tether, IOTA US dollar. It's just a big fat sideways, isn't it? I think I thought that was a diamond at the time, but not doing it. So, you know, we're whole sideways. Flat moving averages means no trend. Waiting to break up again. I like how we're holding support from these, but we're really not going anywhere. We got this level here. It's like that we just not sure where it comes from. There's this level that we just keep. Holding on. So when you're not losing money in IOTA against the dollar, but we do need this to turn up higher again soon. So it's holding on sideways, just holding on. You like MDT? Is that, no, it's not Moeda, is it? MD, no, it's not. I can't remember MDT. H bar and AI on. Let me find them. Hold on. Okay, so here's AI on. Now, this is AI on Bitcoin. I did a whole bunch of fib projections again for this one, though at one point from corrections way up higher, and this is where our support lined up. this is where everything lined up for AI on, and it is finally, look at this, making a pretty decent base here. We've been such a long time here. We've been sitting on this level since August, beginning of August. So it really is about time that we got a move going on in AI, and I can't even remember how many times I looked at it. The only good thing you can say about this is, especially this last 2 weeks, we've been dead flat with a Bitcoin. It means whatever Bitcoin's doing, you are doing an AI on as well. So if Bitcoin races higher in value and you're flat against it in AI on, then your value of your AI on is also going up. So I think that this is making a really good base. It is. It is. So let's take a look at AI on US dollar and see what's really happening under the hood, if we can. Look at this base again, since this is July, August, really solid. The problem here is we're just a little bit underneath our level now and a little bit underneath these moving averages. So I'd really like to see them recovered in AI on if it's going to make a move higher. It's just about flatlined, hasn't it? I don't quite see anything you see yet to give me a trigger to say we're on our way. Like, I think if I connected these highs, we've got a bit of a double top here, and I put an alert there, that would be a really good let me know that something was happening in this one. It is a really good base it's making. So oh, ERD. Okay, thank you, Callan. Thank you. I'll look it up afterwards. I'm not sure what it does, sorry. H-bar, let's take a look at H-bar. Now, you're probably quite depressed looking at this. New coins do this though, like they take a long time to make a base and calm down and sort themselves out, and people spread the word, if you like. So I wouldn't be too depressed looking at this, although it doesn't look terribly inspiring. Here, what we've done here, our first swing was one of those really nice 886 back to the 50, and now we're retesting it. If we can double bottom here, then this time, so if we, in other words, if we hold these lows, then this time we should get up here, and we'll make a big ABC move, so equal measured move, like that, and we'll go back to the 236 fib. That's going to be our target at 541. So what we need to know is how far do we have to go to prove we're going higher from here to here. I was going to say above 425 then. So above 425, our target's 541. If we can't get above 425, we're not moving and we're stuck. So I would take, that's how I would do it. I am still live. Hello. And so that's H bar. I'm just going to go back to, and then can I look at ONT? Yeah, find ONT. Hold on. Oops, hold on, wrong one. Okay, this is ONT is the last one, Ontology. Now, finally, I got a bit depressed with Ontology, but just, you know why? Because I wanted this to be an inverted head and shoulders pattern, and the best inverted head and shoulders patterns have symmetry. So the left shoulder and the right shoulder are similar size and proportion. Okay, so if this is our left shoulder in ONT, this is what our right shoulder should have looked at, and this is where we should have rallied, and we didn't, which is really annoying. So it's not a head and shoulders pattern, it's just basically still sideways. This was an A leg, B leg, C leg. So A, B, 61.8. So we're rallying here. So we've got A, B, C up, A, B, C down. And if we rally from here, we're looking for a C leg. If this was then our first leg higher, Where are possible targets if we rally from here back to this resistance? And if we break out this high, that's our second target, an equal measured move here, because this is a corrective pattern, okay, in Ontology. So how are we going to know if Ontology is rallying from here and on our way back to this neckline level? Well, we're going to use that 236 thing again. Should I do it from here or there? I'm going to do it from here. Okay, above 727. We should be on our way. We might stall at the 50%, 757. So 727 is our confirmation level. 757 might be a little bit sticky. And then our target is 820. But maybe, if we're very lucky, we will see 892. But 820 should be our first target. 892, our second target. But because this is all ABC, I wouldn't have too high of an ambition beyond this previous high, I'm afraid, in Ontology yet. It might be wrong. Sometimes leading diagonals look like that, but at the moment, that's what I'd be looking for in ONT. Still a nice trade, but we might only get as far as this 820 resistance. Okay, that's it. Thank you very much for coming. I really wish this market would start rallying again and Bitcoin would be amazing again. I think it's coming. We just, our patience is being tested, isn't it? So here's another week where once again, we are hopefully looking to see if Bitcoin will give us some bullish signs and another leg higher. So far it's looking all right, but we'll see. Okay, good night everyone. Thank you for coming.